Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining this session of Meet the Author in Conversation with the fabulous Fiona Passantino, author of AI-Powered Professional, who is going to be doing something a little bit different, a little bit interactive with all of you. So please feel free to engage, watch, and listen, but also ask questions. I will be managing the chat as best as I can. As you all know, for those of you who have joined Meet the Authors before, this is my way of giving back to the internal communications community. I have access to quite a number of professionals within this field. So I just wanted to let everyone know that, Fiona has been kind enough to share her time. She's going to go through a couple of things in her book, but also some ideas that we've come together for this session. So if you're happy for us to start, Fiona, I'm going to hand over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Crystle. And yes, this is a lot of work. So thank you. A big round of applause for Crystle, the fabulous organizer who put all this together. So VMA group, I think they're entirely volunteers. Am I right about that?
Just with the Meet the Author, yes. I mean, we're a bunch of recruitment consultants. So if you've got any internal comms jobs, let me know. But yeah, for these, it's all voluntary for us to give back to you guys.
Excellent. Now you can still drop in your city where you're coming from. I'm actually coming in from The Hague, from the Netherlands. And I know we have a Parisian here. So if you have time and inclination, definitely drop in your city. All right. Oh, no, we don't need to hear that again. So just to kind of like set the stage for a moment, right? We started off with AI kind of worried about, oh my God, it's scraping all our data, all these creative people, all our stuff is out there. Artists were at risk of having all our stuff being taken by this big giant Hoover and made into like a vanilla smoothie of content. But let me just take you back a little bit. This was a painting done by Picasso in 1915 called Still Life. Right. The same year, this was a painting created by Diego Rivera called Zapatista Landscape. And the two of these guys, they ran around Paris and the islands in Northern Africa in search of inspiration. And they went to the same restaurants and they went to the same cafes and they had a lot of the same girlfriends. And so their stuff looked like each other's stuff. And they kind of stole each other's stuff and they appropriated back and forth. And that was this vibe as they were trying to discover Cubism. Now, this went on to include Braque. How can I tell the difference between these two pieces? Who is the real Cubist? Will the real Cubist still stand up? And it's kind of, even back then, we were very focused on, this is my piece of art, this is my piece of writing, this belongs to me. And if you create something that looks a little bit like this, then you're stealing from me. And this is actually not a new thing. We have been seeing art being appropriated, or music or writing being appropriated for years and years. And we've literally been having this since, the Stone Age. So here we have the Impressionists about 100 years before that, not only the same style of art, but the same exact scene done in almost the same way when they were trying to discover what it means to be an Impressionist, right? And then before that, literally since we were living in caves, our work started to look like each other. If you were exposed to enough of the same kind of work, this is what a buffalo looks like. If I were growing up in a cave and somewhere in, the south of France, this is what I would think a buffalo looks like in the artistic, expression of it. Now, if I were growing up in ancient Japan, this is what I would think that a landscape looks like. This is simply the style that everybody's been exposed to. So who was the first one to create a scroll painting in ancient Japan? You can't nail your, put your thumb on this one, because a lot of the work looks quite similar. Same thing if we were in Mali, Africa, centuries and centuries of very stylized similar pieces, right? Go to ancient Egypt, kind of the same thing. You're exposed to what you're exposed to, and that's the art that you generate. So I'm just kind of flipping along everywhere just to kind of set the scene for us creative people, because now AI is here. And instead of humans kind of competing with each other to create original pieces of art or original pieces of writing or music, we now have this giant perfect memory hoover that's sucking up all of our, let's say, created works, and we have the ability to create something new with it. So I'm challenging the whole idea of intellectual property as we have come to know it, and inviting us all to make use of this new tool to see if we can take the joyless part of our work out, and the things that we find joyful in our work, continue doing that as a human. And that will make everybody's life better as a whole. So that is the good news here, is that AI isn't going to take all our stuff and turn it into vanilla smoothies, but we can actually use it to make life a whole lot better for ourselves. My name is Fiona Passantino. I talk about AI. I write books about AI. I coach. I'm a trainer and facilitator and all that. But I started off as a comic book person, so making comic books. And my own journey is, this was me about 5 years ago, leaving corporate. I started running, and I never stopped running as fast as I could away from that scene to be as creative as I possibly could. And so I create comic books about working life. And you can't talk about working life without talking about AI. And the way I use it is I kind of layer it. So if you look at the image on the left, this is the way I used to work, which is every single line, drawn by hand, and it would take me hours. Like a thing like this would take me an entire weekend of nothing else to do. And then the scene on the right, you see kind of a more layered approach where I will generate backgrounds or portions of backgrounds, and then I could focus on the things that give me joy, which is the storytelling, the little people, and the text. So I've been able to separate it out, and it's made for a more joyful work process. I can get more done in shorter time. I don't know, are we allowed to swear on this show, Crystle? No? Yes? Okay, we can get more shit done. And it's just more fun for me to work that way. So we are comms pros. So you are my people. I'm super happy to be talking to people who speak my language and who understands the joys of being a comms professionals. What are our particular joys? Well, we're all stretched. We're expected to do a lot more with less. We are all kind of going through this like hustle culture, burnout. And I don't know if a lot of you are experiencing this, but because AI is here, you can just do more with less. So we're all kind of fighting with this. But today we're going to do something a little bit fun, if it all works. We're going to do a live demo of multimodal tools to respond to a particular challenge that has been presented to us comms professionals today. Crystle, what is today?
Today is Happy Banana Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a thing. This is a real thing. Today, April 16, international, I think it's international, or it could be national. Either way, it's Banana Day, everybody. Banana Awareness Day. Yes, look it up. This is an actual thing. Thank you, Crystle, for finding this. I didn't even imagine that this was a thing. So Banana Day. Now, if you are working in comms, then you have to do an awareness campaign on this subject. We need to spread this among our working community. You can see a variety of lovely hashtags that we can use to call out. I didn't even know that so many hashtags could fit in a post, but what we're going to try to do is we're going to do a quick rundown of, let's create this campaign in about 15 minutes, because this kind of work, when I was doing it back in corporate, gave me zero joy whatsoever. Okay. So I'm going to take all this joyless work that I have to do, because I really would rather do other, more fun stuff, like, considering like new strategy or campaigns, but this kind of thing, like, let's have AI do this, take it right off our plate like that. And our assignment today is, we're going to have this very short awareness campaign within our organization. We are here to celebrate this glorious fruit and talk about nutritional benefits and the like. We're going to produce one long form read post for like a newsletter, kind of a click through that's, maybe 500 words or so. We're going to pare it down into social posts. We're going to work on that key visual. We're going to create a song. We're going to see if we can get to all these things. We're going to compress as much as we can into it. And if there's time, also create a reel for TikTok. So we're going to start with GTP. We're going to do our text-based stuff that way. Then we're going to move on to Midjourney, which is, for my money, the best performer for image generation AI. Then if we can find the time, we're going to go and do some video generation to do those nice reels, and some music if all goes well. 11 Labs is what I use when I create cloned podcasts. If I don't have time to, let's say, create some bit of spoken text by myself, then I will clone myself and have that done. It just saves a little bit of time, and it's kind of a fun process. We shall see what we can do, and then we'll be the judge of all that. So I am going to stop sharing and reshare my browser. This is an experiment. What were you talking about, Crystle, before, about failing fast and furious? And
it's okay to make mistakes, because that's
there you go. Perfect. All right.
Let's just, try again.
Exactly. So we're going to fail fast, run and break things fast, and fail in the process, and so on. So here we go. The first ever live demo. I am going to create, I need a what's a good blog post? 500 words for a long form article? Crystle, what do you say?
I reckon about 500.
500 word article to celebrate. This is context. Always give the AI a little bit of background information, context. To celebrate International Banana Day, which is today, by explaining the nutritional. And what I love about GTP is it's very forgiving. I can misspell, and he'll still know what I'm talking about and not complain of this fabulous fruit. All right, let's see what it comes back with. 500 word article. Happy International Banana Day. Here's why this fruit deserves a party. Okay, now this text might be a little bit, I find this a bit too like salesy. Redo for a corporate setting. Okay, so that's a little bit too silly for me. I need it to be a bit more serious about Banana Day. Like, come on now. All right, now this is more my speed. So I'm working for a large company here, celebrating International Banana, smart snack with serious benefits. Nice. Okay, here we go. They're more than just a convenient. Okay, they've got the potassium. Okay, they've got fiber. We all need that, especially at a certain age. We need our fiber. Okay, great. So done. Check. The first thing that I needed to have done was that long form article. Done. Now I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to turn it into some social posts, because we need to click on something to click through somewhere else. So great. Always be nice to your AI. Be nice. Say please and thank you. Okay, if you remember one thing, because they're going to remember when we start to work for them someday, they're going to remember all this. Great. They like positive feedback. Lovely. Okay, please create 3 posts off this article, because it'll remember. One, Crystle, what is a good length for a LinkedIn post? Would you say 25 words?
I like them shorter, but some have made them longer. So I would say short and snappy. So about 30 words, maybe.
30 words?
Yeah.
30 words for LinkedIn.
20.
I can't see the chat. So if people want to throw in, Crystle, are you able to watch the chat? And,
yeah.
And if people like throw in keywords at me, throw in length of words, whatever.
Yeah, so Claire's gone for 20, so let's change it to
20 words. All right, thank you. Who is that? Kay?
Claire.
Claire. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Claire. Okay, so 20 words for LinkedIn. I'm going to do 15 for X, which is the new Twitter. And let's see what happens and see if we're happy with that. Okay. All right, they even got the emojis in it. That's really nice. We've got, for X, we have 15 words. Great. So we've checked already 2 things off of our list. I'm going to create song lyrics. I need a, give me some genres of song in there.
So they've said that you should also ask for hashtags and maybe a
Yes.
short poem. And then music-wise, they've gone with jazz, pop, rap.
Okay. You are so right. I'm doing this quickly, so I did not do add the hashtags. So I'm going to go back and refine that that prompt. Okay, add hashtag. Let's see what we got here. All right. International. Okay, we got the hashtags in there. And of course, we can also do the call outs, but we would need to know who to call out to. Okay. All right. So that's good. So I'm going to do create song lyrics.
Yeah. So rap seems to be the winner.
Rap is a winner. Okay. Do we like slow rap? Well, we can do that part.
I mean, rap seems to be the winner. And then we've got a little bit of, okay, apparently fast rap.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I'm going to say create a rap song about how amazing bananas are. Okay, so we're going to save these lyrics for later. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to pin them. So it's educational and the banana boss. Banana boss. I can't wait to generate this one. This is going to be fun. Yo, peel it back. The snack with the neck. Oh, wow. This is really fun.
Would you need to prompt it to say no swearing for corporate? Like, do you have to tell it like who the audience is, or will it remember from the beginning?
It will remember the fact that I had corporate in there last, but I should have reminded it. So what I can do is when I go back up and you see this little pencil, I could go back in there, jump in this this prompt and say no swearing, although they don't swear, they won't swear. This is a corporate song. This is for a corporate audience, let's say. Okay, so let's just resubmit that one. You know, prompt refining, like going back and you know, noodling in your original prompt is a little bit faster than rewriting the prompt. So that's what I like. So banana flow, it's a little less edgy. I kind of like the other one better, but they're still saying yo, which gives me a little bit of that rap vibe. Okay. Potassium popping, it's got your back. Okay. Yeah, it's very nutritional. Okay. All right. So we have a song now. So that works out well for me. And then I might want to have some podcast explainers in there. Create a podcast explainer, let's say talking points, script. And let's just see what happens. I mean, this is no context. I've just thrown it straight in. They're just going to go from what I have done in the past. So here is, oh, they even tell me when to fade out the bumper music. Wonderful. Okay, nice. So here we have all of these things. Very good. Good. Now I am going to switch straight over to Discord. Now this is Midjourney, and we are going to go for a, as you can see, I have been generating bananas all morning. So here we go. We wake up the bot by doing /imagine and then another space. And in here, we need to have a key visual. Do we have any styles in the chat? What kind of styles do we like for our key visual? Watercolor, cubist,
cartoon has come.
Illustrated, cartoon.
Pop art, Keith Haring.
Keith Haring.
Artist, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think that he's gonna allow us to do that. We're not allowed to use actual names of artists. Okay. But we can do cartoon and we can do rough outlines.
Yeah.
Okay. Banana.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what happens here. And the way what I really love about Midjourney is that you get 4 options. And from those 4 options, you can vary them a little bit. You can upscale right away if you find the one you like. You can also creatively upscale. And I think the result is the nicest. It's really quite an artistic touch to it. This
Is it free? You have to pay.
It is not free. No. This is about, something like $12 a month. And I mean, for me, it's worth it. So it's fine. So here we have our first, these are fun. They look like minions. These are interesting. These are very much cartoon, very cool style. I really like it. I'm going to go ahead with that you see this top one. I'm gonna, because I think that says a bit more key visual to me for a corporate sort of situation. I'm gonna vary that. So I'm gonna say V2, and that's going to create a variation on this theme. And then if we're happy with it, then we can just go ahead and upscale and then use that anywhere you can. You can download it. It is yours. It has never existed before, and it has existed only because of your own imagination and your prompt, even though you're not the one actually executing it. So 1, 2, 3, or 4, what's our favorite? Crystle, are you able to see in the chat?
How prompting Midjourney works. Can you do a quick chat on that around how prompting in Midjourney works? Like, is it the same as ChatGPT or? Yeah,
it is different. Thank you for asking, because all image generation works better with keywords than with natural language. So when you're prompting a GTP or a Copilot, you would probably use natural language where you'd say, I want to make blah, blah, I have to do this. I work in a corporation with 500 people from 35 languages. You don't need to do that. For image or music generation, you're really just working on keywords. They don't care about the background so much as you need the style, you need the format, you need the colors, the variation. We're doing this quick and dirty here. Usually I would take a much, much longer prompt and I would do aspect ratio. I would talk about styles, because that just saves you time in the long run, but we're just going to go, I'm going to go ahead and upscale number 3. I'm going to go for number 3 here. I'm not sure whether people have voted or not.
Okay.
But this is our final result. So basically we upscale it in the browser, download it, and we're good to go. And I'm just going to put it on my desktop, and we're off to the races. So here we go. All right. So it looks like people like that one. Very, very good. Happy to see that. Now, what do we have? We have talking points, right? So let's go back to our talking points, and we're going to create this podcast. We're going to give this a try. All right. So what I use here for voice is 11 Labs. And that's also, for me, the industry standard. I have also cloned my own voice. And that's nothing more than just going to a very good, high quality version of your own voice and recording it and submitting it, and then you can actually clone that one too. So let me see if I can find my own voice just for fun. Let's see it here. I have to switch out of Rachel. I have to move some windows around. Okay. All right. So this is me. Oh, they've already tagged me as American. Oh dear. Sorry about that, everybody. But American woman, middle-aged. How dare they? International accent. That's outrageous. All right. So this is my
as an organizer, I start from where the world is as it is, not as I would like it to be.
Okay, so that's the clone version of me. Okay, it sounds a lot like me. So if you're bored and you have some fun, then we can we can play around with that later. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm pasting in these podcast talking points that we just generated, and I'm going to have Rachel narrate this one for me. So let's see if she's going to do this.
As an organizer, I start from where.
Let's see. I got a lot of windows in my face here. So we're going to give this one a try. All right. Get her out of here. And let's go ahead and generate based on Rachel. All right. So she's our narrator. Let's give it a try here.
Today is International Banana Day. And yes, we're going there. because this isn't just about fruit, it's about fuel. Bananas are one of the most powerful, portable, and cost-effective
Okay,
wellness tools
you
out
know,
there. You
I
can eat
find
them
that
on the
she's a little
go,
bit
toss them in your
dry.
bag,
All right,
and
let's see if we
boom,
can
instant
stop her
energy, no
talking.
plastic, no prep.
All right, let's
Here's
get
why
her to
they
stop.
matter, especially at work.
Okay, now you can vary the speed. Let's get her to talk a little faster, maybe a little less stable. So she's got a little bit more variation in there. I'm not yeah, similarity. I mean, that doesn't matter to me so much because I don't know Rachel and I don't care. But if I'm cloning my own voice, then that would be maybe interesting. So
First, potassium. A single banana.
all right, let's try to regenerate this one.
Today
here.
is International Banana Day.
Faster.
And yes, we're going there because this isn't just about fruit, it's about fuel. Bananas are one of the most powerful, portable, and cost-effective wellness tools out there.
All right.
You can.
So if I would keep on monkeying with this, I'd try out different voices. I'd try to get some variation in there. And then when I'm done, I just download it as an MP4. So MP3, excuse me. And then you can just basically send that upline. So for anybody out there who is thinking of creating a podcast, and I know of a few, this is a tool if you're having a bad day, if you don't feel like, if you want to create some fake guests or something, you can create pretty believable audio clips with that. Okay.
So one of the questions, we've had a couple of questions you might be able to answer is,
Sure.
Is voice protected or can anyone use it once you've created it?
If you have created your own clone of it, then you keep it within your little area. You can share your clone and you can add it to, the general library if you want to. You can also share it with other people in your working team. But in general, if you pay for a premium account and you have your own voice in there, then it's basically yours. Good question. Any other questions?
Do you need to let them know that your podcast has been AI generated?
Oh, another great question. Yes, you do. The EU AI Act has stated that people have the right to know if something is AI generated or not. Now, this goes for 100% generation. So if you're using, let's say, out of the can AI, then which has no, changing to it, then yes, you will eventually be required to tell. The original form of this law is for chatbots. So they don't want the situation where you're chatting with a thing that you think is a person, but it's not a person, it's a bot. And that's just not a world that anybody wants to live in. So in general, anytime you're creating something, it's good practice, even if it's not law just yet, it's good practice to just, put in there somewhere, hey, this is generated material. Now, if you are taking AI materials and drastically changing them. So you or not even drastically, like, changing them. So your text, your poetry, your music lyrics, and so on, if you're rewriting it, but inspired by AI, then it's yours. Then you really can say this is mine because it's not an AI tool after all. I kind of compare it to eating pasta sauce out of the can without any salt or pepper you add to it, or create, having a canned base of like peeled tomatoes, which you would then use as an ingredient to a final work. I feel like that's how I use AI in general. And I think if you use it that way, then you can say it is more than 80% my work. And therefore I exempt myself from the requirement to tell everybody that it's AI. Having said that, we're all just still making this stuff up as we go. Rules will be sorted out later, I'm sure. All right, so I am going to move on to our music because we have some nice lyrics here. I'm just going to scroll up and grab our lyrics. We're going to make a nice rap song called Banana Flow. Do you remember what our original title was?
Banana Boss.
Oh, Banana Boss. We can still title it that though, right? So,
yes.
Okay. All right, very good. So this is going to be a little tricky for me because I've got a bunch of windows in my face. So I am going to go ahead and create. Now this is my choice is Suno. I am still using a sort of pay-as-you-go model because all these different models, I mean, it's shameful how much money I spend on like models and testing out stuff, So I'm trying to like keep myself under control now, and I'm using pay-as-you-go or free versions while I figure out what the heck's going on, because it's like every 5 minutes there's a new model. So I'm going to still say Banana Boss. So the title is definitely going to be Banana or Boss Banana. We got comms people here. Help us out. Give us a good title. I'm going to say Banana Boss, but Crystle, you will definitely see better titles coming out from our people.
That name, let us know.
Okay. All right. So these are the lyrics that we had generated, right? And we are going to now enter, this is the whole thing. I'm going to get rid of all these little bits where it says verse this, verse that. And the chorus I'm going to leave in there so they understand that this is chorus.
Got Banana Bossa Nova and
Banana Bossa Nova. Well, then it can't be rap, can it? Then it's got to be like da na 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 na. Who does that? So we have to switch up our style here.
Bossy Banana.
Bossy Banana.
To be rap.
Okay, so we're gonna stick with rap, or are we gonna go for like island reggae or what?
I think rap.
Rap. Okay, we're gonna go for rap. We need to have danceable. Give me some keywords, everybody.
So they've got Dominique Shelley's put Peel It Real Good, which is the name.
Peel it real good.
Banana with attitude. So bit of attitude.
Peel it real good. You're from the 80s, are
confidence,
you?
Bit of gravitas.
Say again.
Bit of confidence, bit of gravitas. Banana with attitude.
Okay, so I'm gonna say killer beat. I don't think it would know those adjectives. So let's say vocal, male vocal or female vocal. Do we care?
I don't really care.
Okay. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna see what this does. I mean, this is usually you would actually create a far more involved set of prompts. And what's really nice about this, you even get some key visuals in there. Okay, so we got Banana Boss, danceable killer rap beat male vocal. All right, here we go. Okay, let's see what we're talking about here. Very interesting stuff. All right, are we ready? Here, this is version number 1.
Yeah, it's a National Banana Day. Let me break it down the smart snack way. Yellow gold never gets old. Portable power, bold and cold. Peel it back, it's a snack attack. Potassium popping and it's got your back.
I don't know. I'm sort of falling asleep. I think we can do better. Let's try this one here. Banana Boss. All right, this is version 2. So we're gonna be voting.
Yo, it's International Banana Day. Let me break it down the smart snack way. Yellow gold never gets old. Portable power, bold and cold. Peel it back, it's a snack attack. Potassium popping and it's got your back. Heart stay steady, muscles on track. No crash, no junk, just fuel in a pack.
All right. Better, I think better. So that's version number 2. We've got another version right here. Now remember, we have cut some major corners with our prompting. It's super, super fast. So normally your prompts would be, about 20, 30 words to really make it good. But we're going to try this again. Here we go. Banana Boss.
Yo, it's International Banana Day. Let me break it down the smart snack way.
It's dark.
Yellow gold
Feels
never
dark to
gets
me.
old. Portable power,
Swagger.
cold.
Say again.
It's got swagger to it, but not.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not convinced on this one either. So
The 2 seems to be winning.
2 seems to be winning, huh? Okay, we got one more, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh no, we don't have one more, but that was it. So what's our winner?
It's definitely personally number 2.
Number 2.
Oh, someone said 3. 2, 2,
Okay.
2, 2 seems to be working.
Two is because we need to be democratic about this. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our winner. We're going to give it one quick play.
Yo, it's International Banana Day. Let me break it down the smart snack way. Yellow gold never gets old. Portable power, bold and cold. Peel it back, it's a snack attack. Potassium popping and it's got your back. Heart stay steady, muscles on track. No crash, no junk, just fuel in a pack.
Okay,
B6
I'm
fiber
going
and
to
vitamin
scroll
C.
ahead a little bit. Sometimes they have like evolved verses.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Why are bananas in the boardroom looking so fine? Fueling the brainstorm, one bite at a time. Clean, green, and perfectly prime. Bananas, the fruit that always shines.
See how it ends.
Ah!
All right. So
So
I think we have a
got-
winner, right?
yeah, we've got a few questions here. Can I throw them
Sure.
at
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Go. Yes.
So how can you change the image of the chosen track? It needs a more luxe Miami feel. Can you change the image that it's created?
You are going to be downloading an MP3. There's no image there. This image is just for the within the actual software itself, so that they know what's going on, and they have their own library. So I've never tried to change it because I've never needed to. I've downloaded it and plugged it in as bumper music. I've used it in video as tracks, and I think once you have an MP3 on your desktop, you can add a visual like icon to it yourself manually. That's what I've done until now. But I would probably use some sort of Mid-Journey or even image generation from GTP to come up with like a key visual for that one. So
Brilliant.
that's how.
So,
Great. Any other questions before we move on?
so Eleanor has asked, from a tool app perspective, what would you use to create a visual ad?
What would I use to create
What would you use, yeah, to create a visual ad?
I would use Mid-Journey.
Journey.
Yeah, definitely. Having said that, Adobe does some really great work now too. So Adobe has some fantastic in-app design tools that really make it easy because it can incorporate text with images. And that's one thing that Mid-Journey doesn't do very well is taking text and using that in some kind of like that you can use as like a poster. It doesn't do that very well. It's very, very good at creating the raw illustration or logos or graphics or something like this, but it's not very good at creating anything that you could use commercially. So good question. These are great questions. Wow. All right.
Last one, sorry.
Yeah.
Right, copy free. So the ones that you create in Suno, would they be copyright free?
Those are yours. I mean, for now, it seems crazy to me, but yeah, these are your songs. You own them. You've generated them. You're using a tool to do this generation. And so legally and technically, this is your stuff. That's why I find it personally problematic slapping my name on these things, because it's not mine. I wrote a 3-word prompt and I got this thing out. Does that make me a musician? Absolutely not. So generally the way I sign for my own works is I'll say, generated by my name, image created by, and then whatever tool I'm using, because we want to be nice to our AIs and make sure that we recognize how they work. So same thing with music, right? So if you are using this as one track in a larger format where you're mixing lots and lots of tracks, then I don't think you need to report it, let's say, because it's one element in a lot of tracks. If you're using it as bumper music, I would list it below in your podcast credits, just to say, hey, music generated by blah, 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 prompted by blah, blah, blah. We still haven't figured this out. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in the chat, which I know you can't see, about copyright music, etc. In terms of, one of the guests has said that Suno right now is quite contentious. She works within comms within the IP area. So
Indeed.
it'd be great to, I'll pick up with you guys on the chat after the webinar to find out as much information as possible, because we do want to share current and updated info around copyrights, because I know regulations and policies and stuff are still to be determined. So it would be good if we could get all the info.
Yes. And by the way, this info is changing very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
So whatever is working now is probably going to change. And a little later on in the presentation, I have a kind of a list of current lawsuits that are going on trying to protect IP. And it's not going well for artists. And here's why. The way AI interacts with the world around it is it looks at everything it sees. It's being given a pile of data and information. And that makes up its library. That's what it sees in the world and what it's been given to see. And then based on that, it draws from all these different sources based on what your query is, and it does basic pattern recognition. This query that I see here most matches this pile of stuff that I have in my database, and therefore this is the most likely next best word in this sentence based on this giant library that I have, right? Now, we humans actually do the same thing. When we are artists and musicians, we look around our world and we get inspired by what's out there. No artist in the world can create work having lived, his entire life in a basement in the dark. You can't be creative unless you've been exposed to some part of the world. And it's very hard to make a distinction between a human who is doing this and a non-human artist who is doing this, and say there's a fundamental difference to how AI is interacting with the world. Yes, AI has perfect memory. Yes, AI can work on mathematics and algorithmic codes, which allow for the highest probability that something is a good answer. We do have that in our brains, but it's quite underwater and subconscious. We do work on probability and decision trees, but in a more organic way. So it's really hard to tease these two things apart. That's why time and again, these lawsuits are failing. They've only really won maybe 2 or 3 times. And the artists continue to sue and they're not getting anywhere. So it also has to do with money. There's a lot of money to be made in this stuff. The artists don't generally have money. And these massive corporations, we see how unbelievably powerful they are and how they're wedging their way into government more and more. That's where the money and the power is. And so laws are just, not able to stand up to it. So, okay, we're going to do one more thing before, and we have time for more questions at the end too.
Yeah.
So last thing is we're going to try to create, if there's time is available, we're going to try to create a quick TikTok reel about bananas. So create a, I'm going to say 20 second, what is a good, would you say, Crystle?
I will be honest, I'm not on TikTok, so I would say 10 seconds.
10 second reel. Okay, 10-second reel about dancing bananas in Play-Doh. Does everybody like Play-Doh?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna see. I have no idea if this is gonna work or fail, but we're gonna fail fast and furious and see how it goes. This one takes a little bit of time to generate generally. And now Firefly is not, oh, I'm sorry, I did this wrong, of course. Here on the left side, we have what are we trying to build here? So we need to not, let's see, photo, I want to do video. So I need to go back to not text to image. I want to create video. So that was my problem right there. I did this too quickly. All right, so we're not going to do widescreen. We're going to do kind of the smallish, the vertical, so it scrolls nicely that way. Let's see, camera angle. Let's just do eye level. It's nicer that way. Do we want to pan the camera? So we have a lot of fun settings we can do here. I'm not even going to bother with this because we're just doing it for 20 seconds and it'll get quite distracting. So we're going to have a 10-second reel about dancing bananas in Play-Doh. So let's give this guy a try and see what we have. I'm going to move some of these things over. All right, go. All right, he's not generating. Let's see what's going on. Why is it not doing this? I see, it needs to have our first frame in there. Okay, fine. So I will just take our key visual that we had before and I will upload that in there. And then let's see if this works now. I'm not able to generate today.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is terrible. I did it yesterday, but it didn't work for me now. All right, let's try it this way. All right, now it's working for some reason. I like this little furry guy. This is really fun. I haven't worked with fur yet. That's my next thing. So it does take some time. So if there are any more questions, we can take a couple more questions while this is generating.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions for Fiona so far? They want to know if Firefly is free.
No, no.
Adobe
This is
product.
a part of the Adobe suite, but there are, I don't know of any decent video generating tools that are free, but you can usually try, you can get like a month free trial before you buy. Like Sora is a really good one. Runway is great. Synthesia is great. I definitely have lists which I can provide after this is finished, and then you can just go ahead and play. The key is to really just play and have some fun with it and see what you like better.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Karina said that she's enjoying the ride, in awe of all of this. Helen has said, yes, please to the lists. Elena has said, this is so cool. I'm just hoping it
Great.
works.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for this, and it's going to go slow because I'm doing a webinar at the same time as trying to generate. So I'm going to go, I'm going to probably unshare and then just finish up the rest of the talk.
Yep.
And then once this guy is finished generating, we can, and now I see all the text. Awesome, guys. Thank you for all this. This is fantastic. All right. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and we're going to see where this goes from here. Okay, so we've gone through 11 labs. We've gone through Suno. We have looked a little bit at Firefly, Midjourney, and of course, our text generating tools. There are so many great text generating tools out there. GPT is, for my money, the best one, but it's definitely not the only one. Mistral is excellent. That's the French one. The benefit of that one is that it doesn't, if you do, let's say, translation from German to Spanish, it will not spool through English, which is kind of an arrogance of my home country. That English is like the only language in the world. So, and the French said, no, 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 it is not. Here in Europe, we have different languages. And so they built this language specifically for that. They built the model specifically to meet that need. And it's an excellent model. So it's the one I actually like to use best for all text, because it also keeps your data in Europe. And I'm sort of trusting Europe these days a bit more than China or America. So there we go. I also use DeepSeek, like the Chinese model. It's awesome. If you just don't mind so much throwing data around to giant whopping data centers essentially dictatorship, it's fine with me. I think we all worry a little bit too much about what we're putting into these windows. What happens is when you put information into a prompt window is it gets sent to these massive data centers. When it runs inference non-locally, which means not on your own computer, which means it gets sent to a data center, it kind of pulls it apart, tokenizes everything. It also keeps a version of it intact. So they need both to, the first one is to run inference, and then the second one is to train future models. So whatever you feel comfortable doing that, go for it. It's your own kind of comfort zone. But the way I see it is I take a more pragmatic view, which is you're on the plains of Africa and you are a wildebeest, and there are 300,000 of you out there. You see lions, out in the distance, they're hungry, they're prowling around. They're not going to eat me. They're not going to eat, like, I'm fine. Like, they're going to eat one of us today, but it ain't going to be me, right? So the data safety is like the wildebeest theory of data safety, which is there's so much data out there and I'm not a target. I'm not sick. I'm not lame. I'm not, walking with a limp. The lion's not going to get me. So that's how I kind of see it. Otherwise, this would not be a joyful process at all. So, just as I mentioned earlier, these are just like a snapshot of the lawsuits that are happening from artists and writers, musicians, to these giant companies. So you see on the left-hand side, you see the plaintiffs, and then the right-hand side, the defendants, and they're all there. I mean, this is just a snapshot of the highest profile ones. And to my knowledge, not a single one of these has found in favor of the plaintiff. And I think the New York Times is the one that has the best chance of winning, simply because there's just more money there. But it's really, really hard to sue a frontier model because it's fundamentally the same process of creating art that we do as well. Yeah. So basically, my parting message is, if this business of intellectual property is kind of like a spectrum disorder. So you have to find yourself somewhere on that spectrum, either on the side of like, I have to protect every little word and everything that I say, and everybody else has to be protected because we all create in a vacuum, or kind of kiss goodbye to the entire idea and we're all operating in something like a Creative Commons and there is no IP anymore. So somewhere along that spectrum, we have to place ourselves and live accordingly. And that's pretty much all we got as comms people. So thank you so very much. I'm going to check back in with my, okay, so real quick before he's ready. So I'm going to switch over as we're ending the show.
So we've got a question while you're switching the screens.
Okay, cool. But we got to watch the banana and Play-Doh. Sorry.
Let's do that, and then I can go to the questions.
Here's our dancing banana and Play-Doh.
His eyes
This
look
is so
like-
wrong. This is just so wrong. I feel like I should go back to work, you know. Show it again just for fun. One more time, everybody. Now remember that I got to play the music, okay? Because he's going to be dancing to the actual music. So here we go. So here's the music. He's dancing to the music.
Ah.
All right. So I think
Words can pass as if
stop.
water through hands.
Stop that. I don't know why I'm doing that.
There you go. Is it working?
I just have to stop now. I
I
don't know where the music is coming from. This is the terrible thing. I'm switching off everything.
Would you like me to put you on mute, or can I carry? No, there we go. You're
No,
good.
I just had to close every single tab open because music was coming from some orifice on my screen, and I don't know which one it is. So here we are. Okay. So
Yes,
let's
so
see.
we've got a few questions, so let's go. But thank you so much. And you see everyone, while you're playing, you have some fun, you learn. It's great. So in terms of the questions, do image generating tools work well in creating graphs and illustrations for like corporate presentations? For example, company strategy or sales numbers. And then
Copilot.
yes.
Gemini Copilot, go with the big ones. The smaller ones, the funny enough, the GTPs are not as good as the giant monsters. Copilot is fabulous for this because you can work straight with the Excel document. You just load that thing up and then you asked to generate any number of visualizations out of that. So great question. Thanks for that.
Perfect. Then we've had a question here. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up. So Gamma was mentioned for that as well, Milos. Then in terms of platform to create corporate presentations to video, so converting corporate presentations to video, any specific one that you would recommend?
Ooh, depends which kind. If you're doing like a talking head tutorial where you just need a person talking, like the CEO who's talking over some other thing, then Synthesia does a really good job. Runway is really good for non-person, let's say non-tutorial video generation, where it's more creative, where you need like a backdrop. Sora, there are a couple of Chinese models as well, but I think I'm going to send you that list separately because there are just so many right now. I think that there are 10 good ones, and Firefly is one of many. But you know, I would even say just experiment with 5 different ones and see which one works best for you.
Okay. Another question, Elena asked Copilot to create a PowerPoint and it provided a link that was not leading to anything.
Yeah.
Does this ever happen to you, and what do you do to retrieve the PowerPoint?
Well, you asked for a PowerPoint from what? Like you just texted a bunch of stuff, or did you go from a Word document and say, convert this into PowerPoint? There are two ways of working here. So I suspect you probably dumped something into a prompt window, ask it to generate, and you got a link without going via the app itself. You probably were working from a browser. I don't know. I suspect if you are coming at it from inside the app,
Yeah.
and then it's a whole different experience. Then it'll generate it right there. And then it's also within your own computer. And that's if you have a paid version.
Brilliant. So in terms of the tools and stuff, you'll all get emailed that following attending the presentation. So and then the last question was, what percentage of your book was written by AI?
Yeah, another great question, which is why it's self-published. So I don't like the way AI writes because it's very wordy. You can see it right away, but I love the ideation process using AI. So what I use it for, I mean, if you read the book, you'll know that it's written by a human because it's silly, it's funny, it's trashy, it's very, very simple. There's no AI that can write like that. That's the way I write. But what I use it for is asking for ideas. Like I take 4 articles that I would read, dump it in there and saying, what is this telling me? You know, I don't have time to read all this and my brain hurts just looking at it. So AI would like carefully take my research and organize it for me. And then it's like, help me tell the story of what this thing is trying to say. And it would kind of give me a structure. And that's something I can grab onto, you know, then I have a scaffold and I could, you know, grab onto it and then start writing. And then once I've written, then I would take the thing in there. It's like, what am I missing? Whose point of view is not coming through here? Is this fair? Is there a simpler way to say this? And then I'd rewrite it again. But as far as writing, these are all written by me. Everything is written by me because I just don't think the writing itself is not good with AI.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Bang on 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. If you have got any questions, please do feel free to reach out to myself at VMA Group and Fiona as well if you want. We will be sharing the slides and we might be doing snippets of the recording. I just need to chat with Fiona. But yeah, thank you so much. And I hope you found it useful, and do yourself a favor, go and pick up the AI Powered Professional. It is a good read, but it also does just paint a picture really and how you can implement AI into your current workday or life. So go for it.
Thank you, Crystle. It was a real pleasure. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everyone.